Nothing.
It will come through, and it should be coming through about now because it rearranged
Oh,
for
there it is.
some
Yep.
reason
Yep, it's coming through.
all of the default audio, and I just now had to
Okay, I need everyone to shut up except for Scott.
Oh great, now you're gonna make me self-conscious. Am I fine? Am I good?
No, you are quieter. D, you should probably turn him up.
I am quieter.
Well, I can't turn him up specifically. I don't have an audio set for that, but I can do this, but it'll blast my
Interesting.
eardrums out.
No, we don't want to blast your eardrums out.
I mean, I'll push him up to 112.
There you go. Try
I
again.
mean, is it like you guys all sound fine to me on it, but when I'm listening to it,
You're good. You're good now.
I sound
Okay.
quiet.
You're more even now.
Well, now I gotta say something important, right?
It's like having my own compressor with a bunch of fucking knobs.
CGS the noob, hang with your girlfriend. She doesn't go to here. She's in Canada.
You gotta do the air quotes every single word.
When did you get a girlfriend, CGS? But well done.
Yeah, I mean, good for him.
I mean, Amazon delivers.
Wow.
I was drinking. I was drinking.
See, like, split spittle all over the camera.
Well, he just like completely ditched too, so
Yeah.
whatever. Stupid
Such is,
hormones costing me
yes.
money and people.
Such is life of a 12-year-old. So yeah, we've been missing for a while.
Yeah.
So let's just retcon everything that happened in the last one. Danny was able to do the jump perfectly. There was no problems. Max said, you know what? That is right. I'm going to take off. And
Yeah, him and Ray are they're out together on their own personal honeymoon.
yeah.
To explain to everybody who's watching this, the problem is that our dear friend Drew had a minor accident, and he's going to be out for a while due to recovery. Yeah. He got into a fight with a circular saw and lost. That was his words exactly. So,
Yeah. I fought the saw and the saw won.
yeah. So he ain't going to be around for a bit. So we're going to just kind of have him scooched off in some sort of Ivar fashion. And I know the exact means by which to accomplish that. So we'll be able to jump right in without having too much delay.
Wow. Yeah, the last session we had was September 29th.
September.
Now it's the 20th of October.
Well, people were sick and traveling, and we did do a world building session where we talked about magic.
Yeah, I saw that on YouTube.
Wow, it was quite thrilling. What is the look of concentration going on there, Bill? What's happening?
Just a long day.
Just giving us 1,000 yards.
Lights
there.
out behind, screen up front, way too fucking bright. Just
In honor of Drew, I'm gonna name this week's episode "Finger Licking Good."
because that's all he's got left. Oh.
Who's got
Alright.
2 thumbs and has portals? This guy.
Good guy.
So
Although
I
Scott
remember-
has the most messed up comment. His comment was, "Hey Drew, 9.5 out of 10."
good. So it looks like last time we'd been teleported to a new place.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny pulled a cunning stunt, and
Well, you just pulled us to a different place in the same place.
yeah.
Within the
But
same
still, it's
realm.
pretty cool that you're able to do it.
Okay, load up my Danny character sheet.
So I guess we will have to roll it back a little bit.
No, don't have to roll back at all because I know exactly how I'm going to proceed.
Oh, okay. Then we were interrogating a guy who happened to be pulled along with us.
Poor soul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
Well,
was like 12 feet away, just happened to get sucked
Yeah.
into
He
the
was
portal.
like, it's like, hey, how's it going? And it was like, what's going on?
well, yeah, he was, hey, how's it going? He was just sort of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Rip Drew's thumb. Yep.
I wonder if there's an emote for that. them.
There's one thumbs up, but it's like some guy like seizing.
Well, there's the standard emotes.
Yeah.
There they go, all over the screen.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Jeez. So,
The group was pulled into a portal. We are not sure where we are. Currently, our group is Silva, Malcolm, Danny, Hugh. Is Brenner with us?
no,
Barnaby.
Barnaby.
Barnaby the battle butler.
Barnaby is there. Yeah.
Barnaby the battle butler.
Right, that's right, because we left Brenner back at the manor, right?
Yeah, no, he had other stuff he was doing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a whole, new lease on life.
Somehow or another managed to get himself wrapped up into a bunch of nonsense with a group of people he didn't even meet entirely front on, except for
Right?
the one Scotsman who managed to pull him out of prison, so... Prison. Although it is fairy prison, so... May look nice, but probably wasn't nice.
Alright, so yeah, I guess we could pick up where we left off with poor man.
Well, he was wrapped
who-
up in the cloth that was animated by Malcolm at this point.
He was sharing a kilt with Malcolm.
Ew.
As Malcolm's displacing his anger for Hugh on the unwitting bystander.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he's also a wee bit hungry, let's be honest.
So I watched our first episode, like the session 0 of this, and I made a joke that the only blood that Malcolm drinks now is the blood of Christ. And I was on that night. That was good.
Yeah, that is pretty good. He just needs to have Father Finnegan, I think it was Finnegan, wasn't it? Yeah, just come in there and bop him on the head. You're being unkind! Stop!
For good Catholic inspiration, you should watch season 3 of Daredevil.
Daredevil, the Netflix series is so
The Netflix.
freaking fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where it started.
I've just started season 3 up. Because he was in She-Hulk, and so I was like, well, I need to reacquaint myself with this character, so then of course I need to watch 3 seasons plus the Defenders.
Yeah.
So, just casually go watch 30 hours of television. So,
Casually.
Yeah, Defenders. Hopefully you
Yeah.
can ignore white privilege martial arts. But
I'm the Iron Fist. But yeah.
That was a bad show. They could have done so much better. I was looking forward
The
to
Iron
it. but
Fist?
Yeah.
It was good once Colleen
got-
took over.
It was
Season
better
2.
whenever he finally managed to get training in that he needed,
Yeah.
because his combat choreography was pretty supplemental.
Yeah.
They did a pretty good job of masking it, but still, for anybody who's ever had any martial arts training ever, it's kind of like, ugh.
He was a much better Loras Tyrell in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Forgot he played that
All
role.
right. So
yes.
yeah, we're in this new place that's like adjacent to our plane of reality.
Yeah. Or as Silva keeps calling it, some kind of alt. But yeah, you've got this native. You have this native who's wrapped up right now and terrified, looking sort of. It's a juxtaposition that's kind of interesting, given the fact that he's so punked up.
What is the atmosphere around us? Like, what's the setting? Are we in desert or something? I thought you were kind of saying.
Mostly kind of like rocky, almost like solidified, like mud to some degree. Some trees. Got the Graylian. But
Alright,
the
like a scrub plains or something.
a little bit. It's mostly brush, some trees, lots of rock, lots of like jagged hill. But
Alright.
you guys you're close to a larger civilization, which looks sort of like new industrial, not because you've got smokestacks spewing out all kinds of like smoke and
Yeah,
steam.
I just immediately thought like 1920s New York.
Yeah, to some degree, but it's a little alien in that the structures themselves are heavily metallic. Like it seems like they're almost throwing things together in scrap. It's kind of like a scrap town. It's got that look and feel
okay.
to it. And like I said, it's new industrial in that there is definitely some kind of technology here, likely some kind of black powder or similar like explosive capability, that kind of thing. Maybe, and there's definitely gas. Like gas is definitely a thing. Given the fact that you guys were just at a large sort of death rally full of these bikers just whacking the shit out of each other.
Okay, yeah. Does this look like which way is the industry going? Are we approaching or are we descending?
Not sure. It's kind of like you woke up, don't know which way is east, but you see the sun on the horizon, not sure which way it's going. You'll have to be there
Alright.
for a while. So, what you do have, though, is that the city is protected by a larger wall, and it kind of goes up to almost 30 feet, and it blockades the entire outskirt of whatever the city is. And there are probably gates, one of which seems to be at least halfway in view. And that's if you're facing the city and turn a little bit to your 1 and 2 o'clock, you can kind of see where the gate starts to kind of push through as there's reinforcement along that wall. And there's some traffic kind of going in and out. You can't really see what it is because of the way that the terrain is kind of blocking that. But
We're outside the city at this point.
yeah, you guys are in the outskirts of whatever it is. Not sure if you're going to get somebody trying to figure out what's going on. You don't know how explosive your entrance was, and you don't know how attentive anybody in the city is going to be. But you're looking probably like maybe quarter to a half mile outside.
Okay. So, Danny is physically exhausted from his
Yeah.
portal stunt.
Oh, yeah. You've been lambasting yourself with all kinds of ether, so now you're kind of like,
Yeah.
ugh. So
So
you're
I'm
on-
at a 6 out of 7 on my tolerance.
Yeah, you've taken 6 exhaustion just from that, and you're just kind
Yeah.
of barely holding it together. So,
and in like 4 like turns, rounds, whatever, 5 of that will fall off,
mhm.
but it's still
Yeah, it won't
Yeah,
be
he's-
long, but you're still going to be like, ugh.
he's still, could use like a yoo-hoo and a couple of cookies.
Oh, yoo-hoo, wow.
They made a comeback. In 2070s, they made a comeback. That's what nobody talks about.
The biggest thing that you'll probably take note of, given the fact, is, like I said, the fact that there is definitely a rumbling sound of engine and so forth kind of present, and it's reverberating off of the nearby area, so even being half mile out, you can still hear a lot of that happening, so there must be some kind of like fossil fuel type thing going on to allow them to be able to operate the way that they do. And it must mean that vehicles are possible. You do actually catch sight of some of them moving through, just grounders going through that gate that I had mentioned beforehand whenever you get a chance to kind of like settle in. But Danny is too preoccupied with the fact that he's fatigued. We've got
Yeah.
Hugh more or less going, "Hey everybody, how's it going? Yeah!" Like he just wants to say hi and be nice. Malcolm's on the fritz. Silva's trying to get an idea of where the hell you guys are and what sort of danger. So she's kind of staying outskirt and watching, trying to see exactly what is going on because her street life knows one thing. If you've got one unit of people that you know, you want to keep them as close as possible and you can't let them get snuck up on. So she's busy kind of being
Yeah.
a watchdog. So this guy who's rattled, terrified, and covered in cloth is very much unsure as to what is going on and why. And Malcolm's going after him and more or less demanding to know where the damn rebel base is with the intensity level here. So
Find them and shoot them.
yeah, so Max is standing off in the distance for a moment while you guys are having this kind of conversation. And Danny, you're gonna pick this up whenever it comes down to it, but you feel some kind of a shift. It's almost like in the air. There's enough to actually make the hair on your arms stand up and the back of your neck, and even some of your hair actually manages to feel a little bit electrified as something starts to kind of make this weird shift.
What's all this then?
Is that Hugh asking?
No, it's just
So-
Come on, tinkle.
So Danny's just kind of like looking around and like, is there any change of like the smell or anything like that? Like,
Well, in this
There
case,
is-
if you want to make a very, a quick awareness check, you'll be able to figure out exactly what's going on there, especially with your mystical senses on top of it.
okay. 13, but my mystical gets +5. Okay.
Gotta remember how to do the
I
roll.
gotta. Ugh.
It's been too long.
20 with my roll of 2.
All right. There's
D19.
a very heavy concentration of magic starting to accumulate around where Max is standing. Now, he's busy wherever, like probably about 10,
Mumbling and-
15 feet, mumbling to himself and talking to nobody. Because he's like staring off in the distance and kind of pointing to objects and asking questions, but you can't really hear him audibly. Whenever he stops and takes a look at his hand and then kind of turns around to everybody else to see what's going on, the magic is already in full force. What you don't realize is that there is some kind of reverberation, some sort of reaction that is occurring simultaneously, and you feel a certain kind of connection that goes the other way towards the person you have captive. And you start to realize that similarly, the way that everything is working out, Max and this dude have almost the same kind of mask, because you're hyper intelligent, so you're sitting there going like, what?
Right.
But you're feeling the intent, if for lack of better phrasing, the intent of this is that there is an obvious displacement that's needed. Only a certain number of people were available, and
Oh.
certain people need to be sort of switched and mixed matched. And the instinct is that the world, the universe, is correcting itself.
That's correcting itself. Oh
Yeah.
no.
So it's
So Danny's
rebalancing.
just gonna go, meh.
Yeah. Whenever that happens, you see Max kind of turn around, look at his hand, look up, and he starts to notice that you're actually trying to indicate him. And it's just sort of like, all you get is like, that ain't like that. And he just basically vaporizes. Of course,
That ain't right.
yeah,
And he's gonna go,
your captive at this point starts to
Ugh.
freak the ever-loving fuck out. He's like, what's
Starts
wrong with that guy?
squirming more.
What the hell happened? Like, kind of like, not able to keep it together.
So he was gonna walk in and was like, "Keep it together, man."
to the captive?
That is
Yeah.
the appropriate definition of happy slap, because he's doing it with
Yeah.
positive intent.
Yeah.
Don't make it. This hurts me more than it hurts you.
Thanos
So,
snapped. Yeah, he basically did.
I want to make sure I don't kill this guy. What do I roll here? I
You
guess
don't
it's
need to
melee.
worry about it. You're not trying to cause damage. It's considered non-lethal
No.
anyway. So you just go
Okay.
smack like that. And he's like, kind of doesn't continue to ramble. The panic is still there, but he's just not. He's just keeping quiet
He's-
now, just staring at
he's
everybody.
Like, are you? So you're not gonna run away, are you?
He's just sort of like, could I? Like, just looking at the the person who has
And
him
Malcolm
wrapped up
just
in this.
kind of gutturally just goes, no.
You
It's just
guys
sort of
see,
like-
Max just zipped out of here.
Oh, he'll be fine. He was like, just.
Silva is just like doing this, like she's still watching, but she's like holding onto her head, going like, "Oh my god!"
I
Like-
didn't cast anything. Is that like a sonic boom? Like a temporal boom?
She's just like it's like, you've got me. I
It
know
just
how
snapped
portals
back.
work for the most part, but you're the one who did the starting stuff. Now I don't even know what the hell happened.
Well, it
He's
felt
not
like
here
it
anymore, but
snapped
who knows
back.
if he's even dead any. Fuck. Like that, she just goes back to to the perimeter to kind of keep her eyes out.
So then Danny's gonna kind kind of turn to the captive guy and be like, "Do you know where we are?
He's like,
And,
Does this look familiar to you at all?"
I was like, you guys already asked me that. I don't know where the city is. It's familiar that it's a city. What do you want? I don't know
Where
where I
are
am.
you from?
Hugh gestures to Malcolm. He's like, "Put our friend down."
What year is this?
Huh?
And then he also
Hablas
turns to
inglés.
Danny and is like, "Danny, we need to let the man think." So he's like,
You coming in with like reasonability for some reason.
well, he's not chaos. Anyway, he asks Malcolm to put him down though.
Malcolm's
And-
thinking about it.
It's gonna
Malcolm, make
roll
a
some
will
dice.
save.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to do one quick thing here. I had too much soda. I'll be right back.
Not the mic.
We don't hear that powerful
We don't talk
scream.
about that.
And Liam Neeson.
Braylee, is my audio better than last time?
Oh, this is a good opportunity.
Now,
I
of
can
course, now I'm
unmute.
not talking, right? So this is the best. Ask a question, then go completely quiet. Okay, thank you. We did some reconfiguring by that mean the boosting me to 112%. So. Is that Boyle and Terry? Oh my gosh. I missed that show. Okay, so we're in an alt, right? We think we're
Well, that's what Silva said.
yeah. But so for this guy, like maybe we teleported from the city to the outskirts or something like that. So
Right.
Well, he says it's familiar in the sense that it's a city. Like he recognizes its obvious construction and a lot of that. Like he knows that this is an area that's kind of similar to where he's already used to it.
yeah,
But
like
he
if you
doesn't-
dropped me in Omaha, like I wouldn't be able to tell you where it was, but I would know like I was still
Yeah,
in
Your
the
realm.
country or something.
that's generally speaking what he's having to deal with.
Okay.
So
Oh my God.
Does
Malcolm
he
decide?
have any devices on him or anything like that?
He's got what looks to be like just his general outfit. He does have some kind of weapon on his person, but the only person who might know that right now would be Malcolm, given the fact he's got him wrapped up tighter than a salmon in a package. He's just, but it's one of those things where it's like you can't really tell what's in his pockets or anything exactly.
Yeah, I
That's-
don't like that visualizer.
That is
It's like
Spooktober.
the eye just decided it wanted to drift outwards.
Yeah. Well, so regardless of what Malcolm does, he turns back to the man, and says, "Like as you can see, we're just a bunch of strangers here in your land. My name is Hugh," and he puts his hand out and he kind of like looks at it and is like, "What's your name?" He puts his hand down because obviously he can't shake the guy because he's completely wrapped up.
Oh my God, it's Reboot. Yeah, he's just like, you can call me Vix. Just Vix. That's.
Ah, like the vapor rub. Well, it's nice to meet you.
It's like,
it's-
rub me.
Yeah.
Puts the lotion on his skin. No, he was basically just wanting to ask the same questions that Danny was asking, but trying to get this guy to calm down a little bit.
But in
Uh,
his like calming Hugh way instead of like angsty teenager.
Yeah. Now, I want Malcolm to put you down, but it seems that he still thinks you're a threat. Are you a threat, Mr. Vix?
He's like looking over at Malcolm again at his situation and to everyone else. He's like, no. We're like,
Keep in mind,
heard the man,
Malcolm is still black-eyed rage, hovering off the ground.
yeah. Well,
You need a
because
Snickers, man.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Like that. This is all in character. It's like Malcolm, do you have any blood packs or something on your person that I could get a fish for you?
I'm looking at one. I'm still angry at you, Hugh.
Of course, at this point, Vix is kind of like, if you're angry at him, why are you doing this to me? Like, just
And he just kind of goes even closer. Because I can't hurt him.
great. Like, just not really sure what to do with it procedurally. Now, mind you, it is still fairly dark, and otherwise you'd have one crispy critter sitting there with a freaking cape on. But
That's true.
it's not well known exactly how long it's going to take before daylight arrives.
Yeah. So, if it's been enough time that Danny has recovered a little,
Yeah.
he's gonna suggest that they get out of the open and like head toward where those engines are rumbling, like where there's a sign of civilization.
Well, we're not going to learn anything here. Let's go into town.
It's like,
Are you Hugh-splaining me?
No, I'm taking your idea as my own.
Because you could
God.
say mansplaining. That would even be better. But he's
Hugh
so
man.
tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, if you're planning on going into town, would you mind releasing me? I swear I'm not going to do or say anything that would put me at rights. I have a feeling I can't really do much anyway. Just, please. Just looking at
He
everybody
turns
here.
to Malcolm and is like, do you want to
And,
do like some jumping jacks? Get some energy out of you?
And then the kilt just like unwraps around him and just kind of like swishes back like an angry cat's tail. And then he goes into his pouch and he just pops 2 blood pills.
Oh, good.
He's like, you're, yeah, strangers, right? Uh-huh. Like, looking at the fact that you're still kind of, like, descending slowly to the earth again.
Yeah, we're not from here. We accidentally went through a portal and came here. So,
Yeah, he was
Like
going to
to
go
get
about
back
introducing
home.
everyone. It's like, yep, this is Danny, and you know Malcolm, and over there is Silva, and the chap that got vanished out of here, he's Max. We'll find him later.
Right.
I mean, or not. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't be remiss.
Look, if I might say so, where the hell are you guys from, anyway? You don't look like
Night
anybody
City.
I know.
Night City, Eastern United States of America, Earth.
Like, Earth basically kind of makes sense, but he's just kind of like, night where?
Where are you from?
I'm from Ratswell. Like,
Is
Rathwell.
Rathwell part of a larger
no, it's just
anything? It's just a standalone community.
Like, yeah. Why do you talk like that?
I'm in school.
Where?
What's school?
Night City.
Is it like always night there?
No,
well then.
actually, it's what is that? It's an acronym.
Yep, the New York something expansion.
Territory expansion.
He's like rubbing his head at this point. It's like, okay, I got it.
New York. It's New York. That's the only part of Night City that matters.
I can handle this. Silva, where the fuck are we?
She's like, it's like
She doesn't know.
she like turns around. She's irritated at this point, and she just goes like, "Do I look like a fucking GPS?" Like,
No, you look like you might know where we have a portal where we can go home.
if we're gonna want to find a portal, we're gonna have to go in there, and I don't even know where there is, indicating the big city off in the distance. I do have some kind of an idea, though. We need somebody who actually has a clue as to what the hell this place is like, and that would be him. Like, pointing at Vix, and it's like, he's the only one who knows anything about what's going on around these whatevers, these towns, cities, communities, whatever you want to call them, and we're going to have to use every single bit of our knowledge to make sure that we don't run into serious trouble. And who knows if they even require, I don't know, ID or papers or what.
Malcolm
we'll be
turns
fine,
from
Silva.
Malcolm turns from Silva and kind of like leans into Vic and says, "I can trust you, Vic, can't I?"
He's like, yeah, the name's Fix, and yeah.
Good.
Vix, do you have a car?
No. I've never...
I don't mean here. I mean, do you have a car?
No. I'm
you
not...
at the auto race?
Yeah, I was watching the other dome heads do it. I wasn't in the middle of it myself.
What is your favorite type of car?
One that runs.
He's like just trying to like put him at ease, like get him
Right.
talking about something different.
Yeah, he's just one that runs. But gas is crazy expensive, and so, I mean, like, I'm not running out there trying to, like, beat down bounties or anything.
No, of course not. Who's your favorite racer?
I don't know that they don't really live that long.
Oh, that sounds like my kind of race. Do you play cards?
All right,
not-
Danny.
And he's
please
just like,
let Lee
not
interrogate
unless I wanna get
Vic
We're
shot.
walking
instead.
and talking. We're walking and talking.
Are we walking and talking? Okay.
Thank you, Bill, for that.
Walk in here. Yeah, right. Shiny and chrome.
Yep.
So yeah, Danny's like, do you play cards? What do you do for fun?
And he's like, honestly, I spend most of my time trying to just get myself around and not get dead. But Ratswell was kind of low grade. Maybe this place is better. I don't know. And
Hey, you know, new opportunities for everybody.
yeah,
Do they have money here?
he's like, yeah, I'm sure
Paper
they
or
do.
metal?
Metal. What? God, where the hell are you guys from? Like he just like
Metal like
scratches.
this, and Danny's gonna pull out like some gold coins. It's like metal like this.
He's just kind of stares at it. He's like, Jesus. Like, kind of like really interested. He's just like, I wouldn't show that to anybody unless you knew exactly what you were doing.
Vix. 10 of these to you, if you can help us out.
Well, I mean, like, he looks over at Malcolm at this point and stares back. It's like, yeah. Like, just.
Look, here's 5 for you right now, and he's just gonna hand over 5.
He's just, like, staring at him,
whatever.
like, shoves him into a small pocket. He's like, yeah, I
That's
got this.
gold.
I got you.
That's gold, right? Doesn't matter what's stamped on the face of it. Gold is gold. It melts down. It
Nobody
reshapes.
cares.
Nobody cares.
And
Exactly.
I don't care especially.
Exactly. All right. Gold is gold, right? So, guys, I got this. If money talks, I can do the talking.
Oh my god.
Silva's, like, behind just doing this.
And
Yeah.
Malcolm just looks
Danny's
at Silva
gonna walk
and
in
just
a
goes,
way that you guys are fanning behind him and Vix, so that it looks like you are his entourage.
His procession. Yeah.
He is very good at this because Barnaby always flanks him, and so he's very good at like angling people to create that V, and he's just gonna look like he's leading the way, even though he is terrified out of his mind.
And Malcolm just kind of kisses the cross and goes, I honestly don't know.
Malcolm, this could be a
What
city
I've
full of your
done.
kind. Who knows?
Let's
Earn
see.
this trial. But I assure you, I'm not worthy. And can't understand it.
He was just gonna exclaim to the universe, like, "This is going well. I think this is going well."
Just put it out there, and it will be true. You're
And
following the
Malcolm just
secret.
looks at Hugh, just,
Yeah, we got
you
this.
are God's own idiot, aren't you?
The more that the exhaustion fades away, like the magical exhaustion fades away, the more like pep in
Happy.
his step that Danny is going to have. So as the night goes on and everyone else is like perhaps getting more tired, he is like more energized. Although who knows, Malcolm is nocturnal, so.
And as they're kind of walking, Malcolm just kind of looks at Downey and says, Downey, be mindful of the daytime.
I'm aware of it. We'll get you to a safe spot.
Of course, Vix is just so like, why? What the hell happens at daylight?
Our friend
Well-
Malcolm is a vampire. He might die.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Dude, Hugh doesn't like. He lives
that-
this stuff, so it's just like.
Vix, do you know what a vampire is?
We'll find out.
Someone who's never lit a candle before. We'll just say he likes to.
What a
What?
It's a Hocus Pocus 2 reference.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Is it good?
It is good, but in the first Hocus Pocus, they're like the virgin, all this stuff, and in the second one, this like 5-year-old kid goes, "What's a virgin?" And one of the characters goes, it's someone who's never lit a black flame candle before."
Yep. Oh my god. Well, in this case, he's just kind of like, yeah, it doesn't ring a bell, but I just know I'm not really planning on like making him mad.
Yeah, he doesn't like the sunlight. Let's just say he gets bad sunburn.
You wouldn't like Malcolm when he's angry, as you've seen.
Hugh, I'm irritated, not mad.
Either way, we need to make sure we find somewhere to bed down before daytime.
Yeah, plus it's been a really long day.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I just popped over to the... Oh, that's great. Alright, so... you guys start moving towards it. Now, it takes a little time. Like I said, roughly speaking, that half to quarter mile. The terrain is crap, and you're having to be very careful not to, like, step in stuff, but, the smart brace for Silva is completely busted. Who else had a smart brace? You did too, right, Danny?
Yeah, Danny has one.
And Hugh has one too.
Yes, he would have one for sure.
Is it like physically damaged or like fried or?
Well, the circuitry on yours is actually in fine shape, surprisingly.
Okay.
Hugh's, on the other hand, that one got buggered. And then Silva's is completely broken as well. But for whatever reason, yours is still operational. So, once you get up to a certain point, you can all hear what sounds to be something kind of like metalhead music kind of in the distance somewhere. Not sure where inside the city that it actually comes through with that.
Ooh, oldies.
But you're also assaulted by the sound of roaring engines that are going in all directions. The gate that leads in, not guarded. It doesn't seem like there's
Okay.
anybody who's actually trying to monitor who goes in or out. The technology here is definitely rough around the edges, to say the least. Oh,
So
dude,
we stand out.
that guy's voice is nuts. He's kind of like Danny Filth. So,
but with our clothes and everything, are we standing out?
oh yeah, yeah. Most
Is it
people,
mostly because we're too clean, or?
a little bit of that, but it's also because the manufacturing of the clothing that you have is damn good. Like, everybody here looks like it's hand sewn for the most part. Some of it looks machined, but it looks like people who are more wealthy are the ones who are able to have that. Everybody else is much more hand sewn, that sort of stuff. There are shops and things, like looking at Vix's outfit more closely, it looks like your typical leather jacket, at a fair distance, but when you get up close, you realize that it's all like hand stitched and kind of patchwork. It's fitted together in a way that you wouldn't see unless it was a specific style choice. In this case, it's
Okay.
definitely not. Just happens to be a point of necessity.
I have a question.
Yes.
As we're approaching the gate, Hugh's gonna turn to Vix. It's like, say, Vix, what's with the walls? Like, do you guys close these at night in your cities?
He's like, he kind of like looks at the open gate you guys just passed through. He's like, no, not unless there's a serious problem.
Is it
What
a
would
keep
constitute a
people
serious problem
in?
for you?
Is this to keep people in or keep people out?
Again, that kind of depends.
Oh.
Such as he's like trying to.
Like, if you get huge raids that come through, yeah, you're gonna want to keep them out.
What kind of raids?
Well, you know, stalkers, rough boys, anybody that's trying to come in here and take everybody's stuff. I mean, there's gangs out there that do that. They just roam.
Okay, that's terrifying.
Okay. So, we're thinking Mad Max.
Hell yeah.
Zoners.
So he's like, so yeah, they'd likely shut everything down if they actually saw some kind of a raiding party coming in looking to make some trouble, but pretty much nobody's really going to worry about it until then.
Okay. Well, let's go find a place to set in while we figure out and recollect ourselves.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, yeah.
The
we
idea
said-
of hordes of the unwashed coming for him has now dampened Danny's spirits.
Hordes of the unwashed.
And Barnaby's with us, right? Is he said anything?
No,
He's
he's just
not
keeping
happy with-
quiet and keeping his eyeball on everybody. Like, he is just keeping to himself. And which, the other thing, too, is that he's keeping his eye on Vix and he's keeping his eye on the surroundings. And as you guys come in, there's this kind of ruddy-looking sign when you come in the inside. And there seems to be some electricity, because you did notice that there were bulbs and lights and things like that attached to the larger, taller buildings. There were also, like, spotlights and things like that were also going, if you recall. The sign just says Rustmeyer. And that
It's in
is,
English. That's the question I was going to have.
Yes.
Or at least we can read it.
yes, it is an alt and you can read it, yeah.
Cool.
Rustmeyer.
The great city-state of Rustmeyer.
Although nothing quite so elaborate as saying city-state, but yes, Rustmeyer.
Inky's been studying Mesopotamia, so this house is full of city-state this, city-state that. All right. Well, yeah, let's find a place to hole up.
And as you're moving through, you can
Place
kind
to
of
sit
tell
down.
that there is this, dark-colored, dark-colored, dusty material everywhere. And with the way that the industry and everything else like that is run right now, you can tell that a lot of this has come from. Now you can see that there are points where a lot of the structure has either succumbed to some kind of like rusty type point, that there is sort of a black ichor type coating on a lot of it, and where the coating is not placed, you can see where a lot of the metal is oxidized. There doesn't appear to be a lot of wood. Some places do have that in like where they need it, but and it's not terribly hot here either, so you're not really sure exactly what to expect in terms of weather. But for the most part, things seem to be kind of put together, made out of rudimentary materials or metal, and where the metal is shown, it's either lacquered down with this black stuff, or it is not doing so hot. So you can kind of tell that Rustmeyer is sort of nomenclature to the obvious, as opposed to just being metaphorical.
What's the... Well, you said it's dark. Never mind. I was going
Yeah.
to say, what's the sky look like?
Well, the sky is actually
Is
kind
there,
of open. The stars and constellations that are up there don't really match up when you actually take
Yeah,
notice
that's what
of
I
that.
was going to say.
Yeah,
Is there moons?
Oh, there's actually two moons. Then they sit somewhat similar to each other. They kind of look like they're distant. So there's two of them, one larger, one smaller, but the smaller one's trailing just a hint behind, and it almost looks like the moon is traveling at a diagonal angle, like it's moving along, just the way that they're positioned.
Guys, there's two moons. Did nobody notice this one before?
Oh, they're so beautiful.
Silva's like, it's an alt. Meaning
Silva, what does that mean?
that it means... And she like lowers her voice because now there's a lot of people and activity, and there's some people are taking notice, but it's dark, thankfully, so you guys are not being like overly well examined at this point. But she's like, it means that we're not in Kansas anymore there, Toto, at all. We left. We're somewhere else. Alternate Earth. Some other...
Oh, we're not like on Mars or something.
No.
We're like... I can travel to another reality?
No. What you can do is
I
break...
can travel. Danny Blaze, international and interdimensional traveler.
Accidental traveler. In the highest order.
Interdimensional.
Wasn't it Hugh that caused this?
Well, Hugh
That's
got like
that's a
overexcited and jumped through it. Yeah.
oversimplification, Hugh.
I wouldn't talk myself in a third person.
Interdimensional.
She's
I
like-
could see Hugh. Wasn't it Hugh who caused this?
That's a jerk.
More or less, you guys get to a point where you're walking through the main parts of the city. Now, it looks not terribly unfamiliar in the sense that there is just kind of a lot of disparity right now. With Night City and the way that it functions, there's no shortage of those who lack the means of being able to find proper living quarter. This just so happens to be something similar. The difference between Night City and this is that the grunge and grit is kind of heightened up a notch. While you still have those who are homeless and those who cannot clean or bathe themselves, this is full-blown medieval by comparison. Some people having nothing more than just being coated in something dark, dusty, black, and greasy, and being somewhat unrecognizable, and trying to get everyone's attention as you're crossing by some of these major alleyways and things like that. But, they shrink away whenever anybody's crossing their path, trying not to be caught into the light. The lamps and lanterns that are lit here illuminate things at least enough to indicate where the roads are, but they don't offer so much light that you can actually see what the ground you're walking on, or really avoid any kind of if there's like steps or something, it'd be hard to notice. So everybody's kind of having to walk a little bit carefully, except for those who
Can
have the night
I,
vision.
Streetwise?
You could technically roll streetwise. You're basically using your information because if it's similar, at least in some degree, you can work with it.
Right, I'm trying to figure out where, Fleabag Motel would be or something. Like,
Well, you're
We're
being
seeing
led by
shop.
Vix. Vix is kind of doing the same thing. He's basically searching around
Okay.
for some means of lodging.
okay, so I'll roll just to see if I can, let's say, assist him.
Okay. Sounds good.
Wish you guys could hear this purr.
Is that Littlefoot again?
This is Littlefoot. She's getting
Cat's
so
gotten
big now.
huge.
All right, 10 on Streetwise, so not great, but hopefully not taking them in the wrong direction. Not fighting with Vix.
Right. Well, in this case, no, you guys are kind of cooperatively moving together. You find some place, it looks better. You have to go inside. So you're traveling inward into the city, and you're hitting the less industrialized part of it. The outskirts of it seem to be kind of more functional than pretty. But staying on this road, which Vic seems to do, he just kind of sticks to the throughway as it comes through the gate and so on. You guys are walking along the sidewalk, and this is mostly like stone slab and kind of hodgepodge made from whatever's like lying around material. So it's a little hard to identify or distinguish from the street. But because of where the lanterns and lamps sit, you guys just stay on the outside of that, and everything roadway just kind of seems to do it. Now, the vehicles that move by at a closer glance they're functional. They definitely are gas created. They work on some sort of fuel injected engine of some kind or another, but rudimentary is probably the best way to put it, because all of their
ground?
siding and body, yeah, all grounders. There's no jumpers whatsoever. Nothing in the air.
So Danny's gonna turn to Vix and be like, "Oh, so you guys just have grounders here?"
He's like, what? You mean that? Like he's just like pointing to
Yeah.
this one that goes on by. Yeah, that's
No
why.
jumpers, nothing flying.
What? No.
All right, cool.
When you come up to it.
At some point, he'll make an etiquette check to try and like pick up the local
Right.
lingo or something.
So you catch certain things that are in like standard English, but there also seems to be another sort of almost calligraphic, or what do I want to call it? Almost a hieroglyphic style type of design. But instead of being hieroglyphic, imitating images of people and things like that are easily translatable, it comes as dashes and dots, like Morse code got morphed into almost a
Oh.
monogram,
Like cuneiform,
sort of.
so thinky.
A little more complex than cuneiform.
A is for Acadia, B is for Babylon, C is for cuneiform.
Beautiful.
All right.
Yeah, but basically you get these strange like dash dot clusters that make up monograms that are then combined into various sentence work is what your guess is.
Bix, do you know what this sign says?
He's like, yeah.
I can't read that part. What does that say?
Jeez. And he's just like, it's a stay
Is it
house.
just the same thing?
He's like, no, it's a stay house. Rex's stay house.
All
Yeah,
right.
duh.
He's just sort of like, he's processing. Like it's kind of going slow for him. The fact that you guys just aren't.
Well, we didn't grab the sharpest tool in the shed when we.
Well, more importantly, he's still dealing with the sanity level. Like this shit doesn't happen. He
Yeah.
was tackled by a floating man with a crazy ass living scarf. That's
I know every time I get tackled by a man's kilt, it just throws me off my game for the rest of the night.
That would throw me off.
I think it would take anybody a second to kind of get over that. Not to mention having been threatened, so he's kind of keeping himself to a certain degree. Oh my God, Bill.
That's
Oh,
that's a little more like. It's like let's check the Twitch sensors, make sure they have their on their toes.
You know, Captain Jack, he can get away with a lot.
Oh my God.
But even then, he was inappropriate on set.
So he's just like, we could probably try this place, but let me talk.
Yeah, you talk. We'll back you up.
That's,
We got
Yeah.
you.
yeah, just yeah. He kind of looks around at everybody. He's like, God, I hope they have enough room.
Do you want us to stay outside?
No, I mean like you can come in, just be low about it. Like he just walks in the inside. Now, of course, he's still kind of punked out, looking pretty grungy. And this guy who's standing inside, so you go walking into the establishment. Now, this place does seem to have some better materials that are in composite, like the flooring seems to be a lot more wood than you'd see outside. Most of it's kind of like, it looks like the paneling and a lot of what they use for external parts of their building structures is like metallic in nature if they can afford to do so. They haven't, there seems to be some sort of disconnect between using stone and other materials to kind of help building things out, or it's probably just a necessity thing. And the more you start to see it, it seems to be necessity is what runs this sort of stuff. People are just making what they can of what they have, instead of just trying to, get better stuff overall.
Good recycling program.
Yeah, to the best of their ability here. Obviously, it's got some drawbacks. But there's a man who's somewhat portly standing behind a desk. And he's like, what you want, Dredge? Like, that looks up at the Vix, who's coming. Ryan is like, I'm looking for rooms for me and my friends. And he's like, 3 a night? Each. And he's like, yeah. And whatever you have. And he's like, I only have enough rooms to fit at least for 3. You can bunch up if you need. He kind of looks around, is like, yeah, that'll probably do it. And he throws a bunch of what looks to be like engraved washers onto the countertop.
Waters?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
The guy just kind of takes a look at it. It's like, you're a bit out of town there, Dredge. You here on bike? Huh? You're not some part of, like, raider, are you? Like, takes a look at the money and takes a look. It's like, no. I was just at a rally, actually, and my friends kind of decided they were going to take me on some joyride. In fact,
We're from out of town. He's taking us places.
and he's just like, stares over. The guy's just like, you're an odd bunch. You look pretty
We
finely
heard
dressed.
Rustmeyer was the jewel of the South.
What did you say?
I said, we heard Rustmeyer was the jewel of the South.
The guy just raises an eyebrow, and he's just sort of like, he's a little drunk. 3 rooms. That should cover it, yeah? And he's like, it will, Dredge, but nothing funny from any of you. Call sheriff in here. And he's like, I don't mean to start any trouble. Promise. And he's like, he sets down one more, like, coin. And he's like, just, honestly, no trouble. And he's like, waits for a moment. The guy kind of gives him a bit of a stare down. And waits for a moment. He's like, alright. Fetches 3 keys for 3 rooms. Slaps them onto the table. He's like, plumbing's not so good, so you're going to have to make sure you just manage it well. If we run out of the hot water, we're out until morning. He's like,
When is breakfast?
He's like, this is like, go get your own damn breakfast. You're on your own, Dredge. Good, best of luck to you. Like,
And
All
as he's
right.
walking by, he was like, "Hi, my name is Hugh Man." He reaches over.
the guy just kind of looks at it. Like, your hand is like, even though you've been scruffing around and all that stuff, you look well manicured. He grabs you in this heavy, calloused meat fist, gives it a really abrupt shake, and gets sort of like, no trouble,
nice to meet
Hugh.
you.
Like, looks down at the coins, slides them into his palm. He's like, same. Like that, and just puts it into one of his locked drawers.
Is there a place where we can change to smaller coins? Like a bank money changer?
He's just like, he's shaking his head. Well, it's like, Vic's telling Lisa, he's like, listen, I'll be able to help you out, but you gotta stop talking. Like, he's like, never mind, we're gonna go to our rooms. He like shoves a key into Danny's like chest, passes another one over to Silva, and gives one to Hugh. He's just sort of like, put me wherever the hell you want. Like, and
It's just-
you guys start
and
moving towards
Malcolm
the back.
just kind of like leans toward and says, "Oh, you'll be with me, friend."
He's like, fabulous, just great. Waves at the, like the stay house keep, and for lack of better terms, the innkeeper here. He's just sort of like, like that, walking on off. Your rooms are interesting.
Immaculate with fresh towels.
Yeah, this is not embassy suites. You're definitely in a different world altogether, with the plumbing being a little less than desirable given the subtle brown color. But the water is mostly clean. Doesn't seem to be anything more than perhaps a small dose of heavy mineral. There's just, no odd smell despite that. But, yeah, there's not a lot of hot water. And you find yourselves just kind of like working it through. Now, Malcolm and Vix here are roomies until further notice. There happens to be a small mechanical clock indicating the time. And it would appear that it is somewhere close to 3:40 in the morning, given the fact that the sky is black. So it appears that
But
they have
who
a
knows what time the
24-hour
sun
day.
comes up?
Right.
Is there a window?
Yes, there is a window in this room, yeah. Small, but it's there.
Is it basically covered at all?
It
And
has
you're
it
killed
has
up in
it
front
has
of
a shutter on it that you can actually flick closed, yes.
He flicks the shutter closed and says, he just looks at Vic. Don't ever touch the shutter.
Well, he just was like, at this rate, I'm not even sure if you're going to try and tell me when I can go to the bathroom or not.
Oh, okay. Ken, I was gonna say, I don't care how many other people, Danny and Barnaby are taking a room to themselves, and they will force you guys to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
So that even works better. Where did I get it back to? Okay, so Danny wants to try and magic the water clean and warm, if it's not warm.
Where did you what?
I'm gonna try. So he's gonna turn on the water in their room,
Yeah.
and it comes out, and it's not the freshest
No.
water.
The tub's clean,
So-
surprisingly. Out of everything else in here, that's probably the most impressive bit, is that the tub doesn't look like it's a mess.
He's gonna try and like purify the water to make it taste good to drink.
All right, so you're going to need to, more or less, you're basically trying to clear it of all impurities and heavy metals or anything else that could possibly be problematic. At least you don't have to worry about the excess amount of fluoride.
Well, so Danny has prior experience with that whole drawing the metal thing that Brenner made him do when he like knocked all the desk stuff off and like all over the ground, and he made Danny like pull just the metal like out of it. So he's gonna try and like rely on that experience to try and like pull the metal out of the water.
Ah, I gotcha. You're basically just acting for a minor water filter of a sort.
Yeah.
All right, well, you fill the tub up to a certain level, and you may go ahead and roll it. It's going to be a target 8. You won't necessarily know what the threshold is, but go for it.
Sounds good.
Look at this raccoon tail.
It's just like
Rakakuni!
It's so fluffy.
Oh my
Her
god.
tail's so big.
Barnaby's looking around while you're in there, and he just like takes a seat while you're basically loitering around the tub after it fills up, and he's just doing this like, there's 2 fucking moons in the sky.
one success.
All right, you start to do this drawing thing. There is that same faint silvery mist-like quality that starts to emerge from your hand and surrounding the water inside of the tub. You start to see trails, and you remember that game back in the day where you'd have like those iron filings entrapped inside of a plastic case, and you'd move a magnet around and things would start
Oh
to
yeah,
collect.
that's for fun.
Yeah,
Wooly Willy or whatever. Like
Yeah.
those things. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're seeing that kind of happen as these impurities are starting to collect towards the surface of the water and start to emerge and bubble up, floating in their own like sort of telekinetic force, whatever that might be, and starting to collect towards the palm of your hand. You get a good majority of that out of there. And
Nice.
you kind of draw it in place. Now, whenever you start to feel a little bit of the ending coming on, you can kind of sustain the concentration, but you sort of feel like you could probably do a little bit better. But you start to pull it back out, and it solidifies into a single orb, almost like a marble of some kind of black material. But it looks like it's heavier metals. Maybe not lead, but there is definitely something to it that is carbon-based and heavily so. But the water itself looks far better than what it did before.
Very nice.
Good enough to
I
drink.
like that. And is it warm?
Is it warm, the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's warm.
All right. Dan's gonna take a bath.
Clean the watter and put my
Yep.
nasty ass in it.
He's gonna like scoop a cup out for for Barnaby to like if he wants to drink or something. But then
Prior.
he's gonna get in.
You know, you set it over. You basically
Yeah,
do your
yeah.
thing and like jump into the bath, and Barnaby's just kind of staring up, looks at the cup for half a second, then keeps going back up to the ceiling. I can't tell if I'm extremely excited or if this sucks.
Oh,
Meat flavored water.
Barnaby, it sucks. But we'll make the best of it.
We
Do
actually
they have room service? Is there
pulls his-
phone?
He's like, no, they don't have room service. I'd put money on that. In fact, I can't put any money on it because this. He pulls out his credit shit and he's like, means absolutely nothing here. They were
I know,
paying
that's
the
why we
guy.
got some gold.
They were paying the guy in washers. Like he
Right.
just like
Ooh.
sticks the shit back in, and he like pulls his gun out, sets it on the table, checks for his free magazines. He's like, "Who the hell knows if they even have bullets?"
Well, you can use this. And he like points at the little, orb.
He's like,
Maybe that's worth something. Maybe there's a smelter who'll give you 2 washers and a lug nut.
I honestly don't think anybody's going to be terribly interested in a marble made of whatever the hell that shit is. I appreciate the thought, though.
Is there a little travel guide in the nightstand?
He leans
There's not even a
forward.
nightstand.
He's like, he just like leans forward onto the chair. He's like, and you're just sitting
There's
across from
actually
him in the
Gideon's
room.
Bible.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't matter which universe you're in.
Yeah, they're
Right.
everywhere.
Good
Um,
job.
He like leans forward. He's like, "All right, I'm going to just pretend, Danny, that you have. Well, I'm not really going to pretend hard. You've never experienced anything outside of your current life. There is no room service. There's no telephone. Guaranteed that if somebody wants to take something from us, your status doesn't mean anything." At all, in the least. You're nobody here, which also means that you suffer the same consequences as every other nobody. Nobody's going to care if somebody steals clothes right off your back. I'm guessing. Because the look and state of this place, nobody really has much going for them, especially with some of what I've watched sitting in these alleyways. So there's not going to be any breakfast. We're going to have to find ourselves our own way, and we're going to have to get our own currency, let alone the fact that we're going to need to get a vehicle. But most importantly, we have to try and find out how in the hell to get back to where we were. And I don't mean in the parking garage. I mean back to the marketplace. Because we're going to have to get back to that. From what Silva was saying, we have to return to that as the point of origin. But this stuff doesn't make any sense to me. So whatever it is that we have to do, Silva's the one that knows what's going on. And we're going to have to pay very close attention to that, because if we don't, we're stuck here forever.
Poor
And he's
Danny.
gonna pull a washcloth off his head and be like, "Did you find anything in the nightstand?" Like he totally did not.
Yeah, he stands up. He's like, "I'm going for a fucking walk." He takes his gun, slides it back in his holster. It's like, keep the door locked.
You gonna knock 3 times or something? How do I let you in?
Yeah, I'll knock 3 times. And I'll announce the fact
Right.
that my name is Barnaby and let me in. Like that. And he just walks out and shuts the door.
All right. Danny is just gonna enjoy that soak.
Of course,
He would.
with your impeccable hearing and such like that, and the walls aren't necessarily too terribly thick, you've got Malcolm right next door who just heard Barnaby just go like, "I'm going for a fucking walk." Like that. You hear the slide, and it's like, and then the door shuts and you hear the footsteps leaving.
Dun, 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 dun.
And he just his eyes are somewhat closed, and he's leaned back and says, "I can't blame the man for that."
Hey McDonald's, are you next to us?
He's like the worst hotel roommate.
He's like banging on the wall. McDonald's, did you take a bath?
And this is why I know God is testing me.
It's like, you got Vix kind of pacing back and forth, not like too terribly anxiously, but he's just kind of like got a lot of extra energy. Clearly the adrenaline hasn't quite dropped all the way off, and he's just sort of like,
It's gonna hurt when it drops.
yeah, he's just kind of like, okay, all right. They call you Malcolm, right? That's your name, right?
Yes, Mr. Vix. His eyes are still closed. He's like leaning against the wall. That is my name.
Okay. He's just sort of like, I don't know exactly what to expect here, but I've got a question. You guys have the ability to get back to wherever you're going, right?
Only if God's willing to end my suffering, so.
Huh.
Aha.
Well, like, listen. This place seems to be kind of similar to like Ratswell. Like it has a lot of similarities to it. And I've heard actually of Rustmire, but it's close to like maybe 3 or 4 days drive, and most people don't show up here from where I'm at unless they've got lots of cash, and I don't have that kind of money, so I never left, clearly. But you guys are absolutely loaded. Problem is that that's going to attract a lot of eyeballs, and I don't want to get caught up in whatever the hell that's going to be. But more importantly, he like takes a chair, moves it over to where you're at, and keeps it at a healthy distance, even though that doesn't really matter. He like sits it with the back forward, and he's just like, listen, I've been pretty much taking care of all, you call them what, grounders? Like, anyway, I've worked with these things. I do mechanical work whenever I don't have other random chores that I used to do for my boss. But I'm really good at driving, even though I'm not supposed to be. I used to like do it all the time. If we can ever get my hands on anything like that, I can get you guys to wherever the hell you need to be. Especially if it means getting the hell out of whatever this is. And he's just like looking around. It's like this place, like not just Rustmire. I mean, like, yeah, he's like, the clothes you guys wear are insane. Like, who sews that?
So, would you
Poor guy.
say your freedom from the burden of this world would be worth your loyalty?
He just kind of like leans back. It's like, I don't want to like. It's not like I want to join a gang or anything. I just want out. If you have anything that's even anywhere remotely close, better than this, I mean, if I'm not having to suck in the smog from the various plants, or try and find food that hasn't been completely stepped on or full of bugs, and anything is better than this.
Poor guy.
Oh my gosh,
At
Danny needs a driver.
At that point, this Malcolm kind of smiles, but like when he smiles, unfortunately, one of his fangs is showing,
Yeah.
and he just kind of
Malcolm's
smiles.
so
at
freaking
this.
intimidating.
He says- and his eyes are still closed, by the way. He's just like,
Predatory.
I think, and he just kind of looks up. You could be of use then.
And he's just like, yeah, I'm kind of trying to be, since you damn near... I don't know if you were going to kill me or not, but it feels like you probably were pretty close. Listen, no hard feelings. If there's any chance whatsoever that I could jump along with wherever the hell you guys are going, all the better. I'll take it. And it's got to be
If
better
you-
than here.
And he's like, if you pledge your oath to that, then I will keep my word to you.
He kind of like sits for a minute, kind of processing what you're talking about, and he's like, I think that just means that if I swear I'm not going to stab you in the back, yeah, that's the plan.
Good. Now I won't have to kill you.
Okay.
And then he just leans back. Now, who's this sheriff he was talking about downstairs?
I don't know who he is, but I know what he is.
Aye? And what would that be?
Yeah, well, I mean, any sheriff to any town is usually going to be whoever it is got the most kills under their belt that basically lays down whatever law the mayor has got put in place.
Right, so there's the mayor.
He's learning all kinds of good stuff.
It's just like, hi, and what do you know of this town?
I mean, I've only heard rumors, really. Like, Rustmire's pretty hard, even for people like me. Like, I tried to get into, a few of the local, like, gangs or groups or whatever you guys might call them. I don't know if they're the same name, but honestly, not really my thing. I just like to work on cars and, drive, get to see other things. But I mean, sometimes the games can be exciting to some degree, but I mean, I was just there to work on the cars. Maybe even get myself a bike. My boss was promising me to get one if I could actually start getting some of these races under control with some of the new engines that they were starting to try and put in there.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, this is not a nice place to be. That's what you're getting at.
Yeah, but Rustmeyer is problematic for a couple of reasons. When I was talking about Rough Boys, that's the one that's on the inside. They're probably the local muscle that's always doing something around here. And they take, they steal, they do whatever the hell they want.
Alright, so you've got a mayor, a sheriff, the Rough Boys, in general, a rougher bound of town. Come on, Your Majesty, get in here. Anything else we should be aware of that's potential danger?
Well, I think we're lucky that we managed to get in here at night to start, mainly because of the fact that you're not going to necessarily call as much attention to yourselves. I mean, you're no Dredge, that's for sure. Dressed way too nice for that.
God.
What?
You're
Cat wants out again.
you're meow cat
Kitty.
vampire.
Your cat
Oh, yeah.
vampire. Yeah.
I am the night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So he's just like, yeah. I mean, pretty
What
much.
is he saying? Is he saying Dreg?
Dredge.
Dredge. Okay.
But it's like, honestly, you guys don't necessarily need to get yourselves any rougher looking, but yeah, I would say probably toning it down would be a smart plan. Everybody here is pretty much a target to get hit by Rough Boys or anybody else looking to get something fast. And, yeah.
Yeah, what type of weapons would these Rough Boys have?
Usually something like machetes or chains or whatever's kind of handy. Sometimes they make their own thing. Maybe
Any
some of them will
firearms?
actually walk around. Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes they get guns, but it's really not a good idea to be popping all that off. Not unless you know how to make the stuff.
Danny's gonna
Oh.
get out of the tub. It's gonna let the water
I
out.
don't I don't think that would be too much of a problem.
He's like, okay. Like, leaning back away from you, like, kind of pulling on the back of the chair as he's doing that. And he's like, yeah. Kind of just waits awkwardly for a second. It's like, I'm just gonna sit over there, I guess, unless you got something else to ask.
McDonald's, do you have extra towels? They only gave me 3.
And if you excuse me. Listen here, you spoiled prot.
Oh, nope, found another one.
Deal with it.
All right. So, Hugh, you happen to have the luxury of going in there with Silva at this point, who is somewhat frustrated and working some things through. She's got her smart brace tossed to the side on one of the tables that's inside of your room. It's low lit, and everybody's room is just like this, where it's low lit with like bulbs that obviously function from various corners of the actual rooms that you're in. The subtle illumination from an oil lamp sitting on the desk as well is there, so she's using that and kind of thumbing through what seems to be some kind of a notebook. And she's just like looking at it, writing, scrolling notes, working as best she can. The pencil is well worn that she's got. But she also has several other smaller talismans that are on the table as well, kind of taking into account an inventory of what she needs.
He's gonna let her work a little bit, but just like, say, is there anything I can help with? I did do some research on triangulation a little while ago.
She's just like, listen, Hugh, we're kind of going to need a lot of help, actually. Like, she's like, what in God's green earth ever possessed you to go through the portal in the first place? Like, she's genuinely asking and just trying to, like, because you can see that there's, like, frustration there, but she's kind of, like, dipped off.
Can Malcolm hear that through the wall?
Yeah.
'Cause he's an idiot.
Oh, is Malcolm in between the
Yeah.
three?
Yep.
Oh, that's the best.
Of course, Malcolm's in the middle. Houston's like, I saw someone walk into it.
There wasn't anybody there, Hugh. Nobody. There was nobody there.
The world works in mysterious ways.
Isn't it God works in mysterious ways?
I've learned there's not a god a long time ago. At least not the one that our buddy our buddy Malcolm worships.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't tell him that. And she's like, continues, was like, okay, listen, this is the way this stuff works. I'm gonna have to create an entirely different map. The problem is that we're working from scratch here, and there's a reason why skip gates get used in the way that they get used is because people have tested it out. They've been able to actually figure out if it's one way, two way, if it goes too far or back, or any of that other stuff. That's why you don't just walk straight through them when you don't know what you're doing. Like, she just goes, scrawls a few more notes, then closes the book and shoves everything back into her pockets. She's like, I've still got the Seeing Stone, so I can kind of pick up if we actually see another portal. And obviously, the denser the population, which here is good because that means that there's going to be a lot of flux in the fabric, so to speak. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just changes, and people and intention have a tendency to draw this stuff in. The more that there's people, the more there's community, the more likely you're going to run into all kinds of gates. So
Yeah.
we've got a better chance here than anywhere else. Only problem is I have no idea where they go, and we're going to have to figure out a way to test that.
Yeah, that is all right. Silva, I mean, the good news is that no matter what, the people who are pursuing us, they're not here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess it's a silver lining, but
We've got time.
no.
Don't you fret, Silva.
She's like turns around, and is like, Hugh, all we have is time right now. We barely even have
Exactly.
money. Oh God. Like
She's stuck with the eternal optimist.
she's like, okay, let me break it down to you.
I see this as a total win. Right?
Yeah.
The Hulk situation.
She's like, listen.
And then you just hear this through the walls. I think this is what Job went through.
Joe?
Job.
Job.
Oh.
Yes, go slaughter your 12 children. I'm sure it's the same thing.
Anyway, she's like, I was like, is everybody able to hear us at this point? Oh my God. Anyway, listen, what we're going to have to make sure we do is we're going to have to track down a big enough gate, okay? And then I'm going to have to use one of these. She pulls out one of the talisman, which looks kind of like a sort of a stone-worked chess piece, like a queen chess piece is kind of what it looks like. And she like holds us like, this is the strongest one I have. We screw this up, and we're going to have to find somebody who can recreate this because it won't hold up. And unfortunately, we have Magic Fingers in the far room over there who's never done anything like this, and I'm going to have to leave it to him to sort of recalibrate where we're going. But we have to find at least one gate that is going out. In other words, it can't be coming towards us, it's got to be going the other way. So if we can find an outbound gate, Magic Fingers is going to have to recalibrate this. And it's like using this to pinpoint where the market is and more or less cause it to diverge and go that direction, which means he's going to hop dimensions, hopefully on the current of the gate we use. Now, he screws it up, we could wind up in a totally different alt and have to do this all over again.
Certainly sounds like a challenging problem to
Yeah.
overcome.
Yeah. The most challenging aspect is to take that nerd and figure out if he can actually pull it off first time. I hope he's smarter than he acts because, oh my God. Like that, she just...
Oh, have
Steph.
faith in the boy. He's come through.
I've had...
Hugh doesn't know if he's come through or not. He's just,
He's just making shit up. Well,
Yeah.
she just looks over at Hugh and is like, Hugh, honestly, you're the nicest person and the most annoying person I've ever met. And I will tell you this much right now. Your faith in people is wholeheartedly misplaced often. And worse is that I'm on an adventure now that I never really expected to be on, but I'm hoping that maybe tomorrow we can make some kind of progress, because, like I said, if the talisman breaks while he's calibrating the stupid thing, I don't know how to make another one. I was never magical. I just knew somebody who knew what they were doing and was able to and figured out how to use the stupid thing after he made it. That's it.
So he's been writing this down because he's got a pad out. It's like, so we need to find some gates tomorrow. Some gates. We need to determine if he's taking the list off. We need to determine if if the gates go in or out. Gates go in or out. If we find one that goes out, that's when we have to figure out if it goes to the marketplace.
Yeah, we have to find an outbound gate and then basically push it or pull it in the right direction so that it goes back to the marketplace, which is not going to be easy. But because that was where we kind of came from, that's where we're going to have to find our origin point again, because we can't go back to our... We have to hit the middle first before we can go to the other end.
Makes sense. Is there anything I could do to help you with the maps?
She scratches her head. She's like, I don't know. Like, are you able to
You're right.
like pick anything out? Like, can you sense this kind of stuff or not?
I think my my monocle can.
Yes, your monocle
so-
can actually
okay.
perceive it. Yeah.
So he's like, well, let's find out.
Well, yeah, and so it starts picking up the various energies and things like that. It's similar to what Danny has in terms of his mystical awareness, but it's a lot more sophisticated. The artifact actually allows you to kind of understand what you're looking at, as opposed to just kind of giving you overwhelming sensory data.
And you just kind of hear a knock on the back of the wall.
Yep.
I'll be there in a minute. And he just looks at Vix and says, "Don't go anywhere."
And he's just kind of like, he's like leaning back in a sort of overstuffed kind of hodgepodge type seat. He's like, I've heard everyone's conversation on both sides of the room. If I tried to run, you'd probably hear my shoes squeak before I even tried anything. I'm not going anywhere. Promise.
You just kind of, and just like, here's the polite knock on your door. You.
Yeah, well, and Silva's kind of closest, so she like opens it up. She's like, come on in.
So, it's not like anything's very quiet.
No, these three rooms
And
seem
he
to be
just-
pretty easy going back and forth.
He pats the lantern at his side and says, "I think this can help you find your way too."
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll take all the help I can get, because the faster we get out of here, the better. And she like looks down at, she's like, maximum amount of time that we have left. She like reaches into her jacket and pulls out the talisman. She's like, maximum amount of time? We've got maybe 7-8 days tops. And then this thing is just another piece of stone.
Yeah. And I say, in the evening time, we find you a skip gate. And Hugh, you can hear through the walls. The people in this world are not your friend. Do not make friends with them. Do not shake their hand.
I can't promise that.
Danny's gonna try and
Do you
summon
hold?
some food.
He just kind of looks at you and goes, "Let me try something different. Do you see yourself as seeing as to Danny's well-being?"
Yeah.
Yes
Yeah.
or no? Okay. Would you want to put him in jeopardy? Yes or no?
I like that. It's like, oh, absolutely not.
Your demeanor, while God sent, ever faithful saint-like, we'll put that boy in jeopardy. So will you put that boy in jeopardy?
Seems like I need to be alone when I'm doing my shopping.
Restrain yourself. Because if you don't, you put not only that boy's life on the line, but Silva, Barnaby, and yourself.
I see where you're coming from, Malcolm, and I appreciate it. I've found that throughout my life, just trusting in the best in people have gotten me through.
And
So,
you've nearly gotten us
Hold on
killed
right there, guys, because
more
like
times
depending on
than
what
I
his
can
answer
count.
is.
And then he just kind of closes the door and walks out.
Yeah, while you're walking out, there is this kind of like this noise of like sudden fright, and then you see a whole bunch of what looks to be just a small amount of like insects flying out from the door from where Danny's at, and they just kind of flutter out for a minute. It's just, you just hear this like ew 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 like. This just kind of happens. They eventually flitter off and then dissipate, and I don't mean like they fly away and there's fewer of them. They dissipate in the sense that they kind of vanish out of into thin air after a minute, and then there's like this like, and then of course a cry of success.
Yes, you hear this, woohoo, like super loud. And then Danny's
And
gonna open the door. He's just got the towel wrapped around his waist
Yeah.
and his another towel up in his hair.
Of
And
course.
he's holding this huge tray of food. And he's standing at the door. He's like, guys, I made dinner.
And
And you see 2 of the gems on his bracelet are burnt out. Like are deactivated.
Oh my god.
So Malcolm just kind of like takes out his pipe, loads it up, and says, I think I'm going to go keep Barnaby some company. Please feed Mr. Vix if you could as well. And then he just marches out to go have a smoke outside.
Chaos Goblin. I love it.
So Danny's gonna
Yeah.
bring
Vix.
his food tray over to Vix and to
You go in there. You've got this
Silva.
tray. By the way, it's hot, and I'm actually guessing is
Oh,
it
yeah.
actually McDonald's?
yeah, probably.
Some Big Macs.
They won the franchise wars.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's like Big Macs, like so it's got like the lettuce and tomato and onions, like pickles to all.
Yeah.
these patties,
You bring that
special
in.
sauce.
Of course, the smell hits Vix in the head. Just it almost looks like a physical blow because you come walking in there after he hears the woohoo and the first, and he's just
Yeah.
sort of like, "What is that?" Like just kind of staring at it. You come slapping it down on the table again. The aroma, but he's just like, he comes over and takes a look. He's like,
He's like floating on the smell.
"Yeah, kind of." He's just like,
He's like, it's made of cow. It's not even rat or whatever you're probably used to.
"What?"
Fantastic.
It's like, this is food. Like, you're giving some to me then.
Yeah, you earned your keep.
He's like, he just sits there. He
Stick with
pulls
me,
open
man.
the
You're
one,
gonna
the
live
biggest,
high life.
yeah, the biggest sandwich he can find, which happens to be one of these Big Mats. Puts a huge ass bite in his mouth, and you can just see like the eyeballs roll into the back of his head. He's like, "Oh my, what is this?" Like,
Like tomatoes and lettuce.
oh yeah,
and,
just
like-
completely like all just smashing it into his gob.
Yeah. So then he's gonna take, a one. He's gonna leave the tray there and take one each over to
Mm-hmm.
Hugh and Silva.
Dinner time.
Yeah. So y'all be eating. Barnaby didn't go far, as you've got Danny the relief worker back there feeding everybody junk food. He's like
Delicious.
just down the street kind of watching everything, and for the first time ever, you actually see a cigarette sticking out of his mouth, cherries right on the
knew
end.
it. I
And he's
knew
just
it.
like, he's just smoking like this, and he just kind of looks over as you come walking out. It's like, oh, thank God. Like that, and takes another puff off the end of it. And he's like, welcome.
All of a sudden he's French. The night.
But no, he's just kind of looking at he's just
Okay, give
looking
a
over
cigarette
at
to a
Malcolm
baby.
as he's like, yeah. Well, Malcolm's got his pipe
Aw.
too. That's the other funny part.
R.I.P. Mr. Williams.
Yeah. Well, you see that there's 2 more butts down there, so he flicks this one off and like takes one more out. It actually lights the end of it.
He's chaining them.
Yeah, right now he is. When he takes that drag, he's like, okay. Alright. I can fucking handle this. Pretty much the entire goddamn city is a threat based on what I just saw. And anybody who's worth their damn salt is going to realize that I don't have nearly enough bullets to protect him from the amount of assholes in this place who could possibly do some damage. And then again, I got my
He
knife.
kind of smokes. He like, takes a draw, and his eyes are semi-lidded, like closed. And he says, like, "Oh, Mr. Barnaby, would you like me to make you smile?"
Oh, yeah. I'll take anything I can get at this point.
You probably have one of the only legitimate firearms in this entire world.
Shit. It's worse than I thought. Damn it.
And you're standing next to a vampire. And he just takes another drag.
Yeah, well, and you see the smoke just blast out of his nose. Thank God for that. Like that, and takes another drag.
And then he breaks down like the threats. Like
Yeah.
this is run by a mayor, you've got a sheriff that we don't want to fuck with. Laws are probably pretty arbitrary. The rowdy boys are the biggest threat. And he like says,
Almost like that name better.
well, okay.
They tried to overthrow the mayoral election.
Let's try to vote on an election.
And he's just sort of like, fantastic. Jesus.
And Silva says we have 7 to 8 days to find a portal.
Nothing quite like pressure if you don't have a deadline.
True.
It says, and he's just kind of like, he just kind of sniffs. You like hear like he takes like a deep breath and says, "There's no animals for me to feed."
Lovely.
And he just like takes another long drag of his blood-stained tabac.
Yeah, he just takes the last straw off that cigarette since the explanation took most of the cigarette, and he finally flicks that last butt away. And on the exhale, he's like, okay, well, I suppose shit could be worse. We're going to have to wait until tomorrow night, don't we? Because you're not going to have necessarily enough hours in the night to operate safely, huh?
No. Oh, it's going to be sunrise in about 4 hours.
Oh, it's going to be a great day.
Yeah, that's basically what I'd expect too, if seasons are anything alike. You know what sucks? Is that it would be nice to actually halfway enjoy the fact that I'm walking around in a place like this, and I can't do it.
Hey, you've seen enough strange things.
I'm starting to
Just be
believe that.
grateful that nothing's trying to kill you right now.
Oh, I'm there. That's why
Oh,
it's
there you
not
go.
5, like indicating the butts on the ground.
He chuckles a little bit and says, "Alright, well, you probably should do that. It's bad for your health. And speaking of bad for your health, your wee one has conjured some what I think he thinks is clever McDonald's."
He's like, yeah, well, we'd better hide that shit, because I'm pretty sure that just like Vix's reaction to the coin in his pocket, we don't want him sold under some kind of slavery to keep making that stuff. Like, he just kind of walks around, because who knows what they have around here, and I'm pretty sure that brothels are a thing, and he's like, he turns around and is like, you don't think that there's some kind of sick version of mukbang around here, do you?
Gross.
What?
He's like,
Where you
oh.
watch people cook and eat.
Yeah, he's just like, you know what? Never mind. I forget that you're a little older than I am. No offense. Like, he just.
I'm taken.
I said some funny things while I was muted, but I forget them now.
But let's just assume that everyone had a good laugh.
as
So he
the
just like
singer.
he tamps it down a little bit because he hasn't really expended the ash and he doesn't want to be too inconspicuous. He says, "All right, might as well go back inside," and he just puts his like stows his pipe back in the pouch that he keeps in his back.
So when Barnaby gets back in, Danny is passed out
Yep.
across the bed with like little bits of McDonald's on his face, and there's a pristine burger sitting there for him.
Yep.
Oh, what a nice boy.
Well, like Danny talks the talk of being a punk, but actually gives a shit about Barnaby quite a bit.
Okay. Totally random.
Yeah. It's pretty funny though. Yeah, so everybody kind of beds down now. Of course, Vix is the only one that sort of keeps his liaison to how the world works and the rest of our interactions.
Vix is now loyal to Danny because of that nice burger.
Yeah, I
He's
think
probably
that
a
out of everybody, the threats of intimidation mean a great deal less than he feeds me that shit again, I'll do whatever the hell you say. Like,
I'm your man.
yeah, when you go back in, Malcolm, you can see that, like, Vix is sitting there. He's just sort of like,
He's, like, hungover
really, a little
from the
bit.
burger.
Like, he's a little, like, on that almost near
Uh-huh.
tryptophan style high. He's just kind of like,
Yeah.
I really hope you weren't hungry. I'm
Oh.
sorry.
He hasn't explained he's a vegan and does CrossFit like 12 times already.
But yeah, I mean, like, he's clearly, like, just wiping his face up with even the in-house napkins. Those
He's like licking the
brown-
wrapper.
Yeah, and he's not quite that fanatical, but yeah.
He takes out his flask and takes a sip out of it, and that replenishes his blood levels back to his SFR pool,
Okay.
back to normal.
Yeah.
So he's at, just for your identification, he is at a quarter of a flask.
Okay. So he's just sort of like, I think I'm gonna go take a nap now. He like moves over to where the chair is again. It's like, obviously I'm going to let you have the bed. It's furthest away from the window. He's like takes a seat. He's like, I don't know what the hell any of that was, but I'm hoping he can do it again.
Want more?
That's
Get in
terrible.
my belly.
How in the world? Wait. I don't quite understand the human form that I'm looking at on that GIF because he's got clearly moves, but he doesn't look like he's heavy enough for that. It's weird.
I think it's the
Caramba.
face on top of
I was
the...
so close to that when it came up. It's almost like he slapped me with whatever the hell it is that's waggling down there.
Oh my.
I really hope I don't get pink eye from that.
tacos. Didn't know I needed that in my day.
Hey, that's what my son has right now.
Oh,
Oh,
Dual ear infection with dual pink eye.
Ooh.
that's
oh remember
terrible.
when Fox had that?
Mm-hmm.
We just locked him in his room for a week.
So, what, if anything, is anybody going to do during the daylight hours? Because Vix will be comatose for quite some time. Daniel will probably sleep in until mid-afternoon.
I mean, I'm planning on taking Silva out and walking around town looking.
You guys
for
gonna go do some mapping, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go for a stroll along the promenade.
Yeah.
Well, what'll be interesting is what you guys find and where, because you do find several gates that go along the way. Only problem is that it seems to be in some of the harshest territories inside of all of Rustmire at this point.
Luckily, Hugh's pretty rough looking. Is Hugh's normal a suit?
Yeah.
He's like kind of like business casual or full business. Like, it's one or the other. At least it's in my head.
Here,
That's what it
I'll
looks
show
like.
you the picture I had of him when I first got this character going.
Little big taco. What the hell?
It's for later.
Okay. Yeah, he's like business casual.
You
Yeah.
know, this picture makes him look a lot more badass than he actually sounds, though.
Well, what's funny
From-
is that is that image right there of Hugh is exactly who ends up getting up in the battlefield. It's just not who he is to everybody else whenever he's not in a fight.
Right.
That's just hidden Hugh. That's all that is.
Someone happened to capture his most badass moment is what happened there.
Right.
And then the tie smacks him in the face and
Falls
Oh my
over.
God.
Yeah.
National Lampoons.
yeah.
All right. So
You
yeah,
guys are mapping the town.
yeah, they go through and
You
do
said
all
how
that.
many slip gates did we find?
Well, you guys, well, let's see here. Actually, I'm gonna check here. You find a grand total of 5 skip gates that are
Nice.
all there, and it would appear that one of them is an outgoing.
And you said that all of them are in dangerous parts of the city.
Yeah, they're all in dangerous parts. The outbound one is on the outside of what seems to be some sort of Warren's element of the town, which is saying something given the fact that most of the area here seems to be kind of poor and impoverished anyway. So
Outskirts of town, you said?
the outskirts of the Warrens in town.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I wonder if they're the dangerous parts of town because the people can like sense there's something special there, and so the gangs have moved into those areas.
Right?
Like this is a turf worth protecting.
Well, and that seems to be where a lot of skip gates wind up, is that they wind up in areas where there's either collections of intensity or people.
Yeah, nice.
And it doesn't have to be one or the other. That's the reason why the skip gate out in Central Park is not around people, but there's a high level of intensity in terms of magic there. So, not hard to find one, despite low population. All right.
Any what's Danny and Barnaby going to be doing? Because obviously
Well,
Vix might be going with them too, but
at this point, like, Danny's going to be driving Barnaby nuts for sure, because it's going to be waiting until the evening hits and then Malcolm will be up. Then we have to get Vix and the rest of it, because Barnaby will be kind of talking to Vix to try and get more information about the situation. So he'll be spending a lot of hours just kind of talking about where he's from, what it's like, just kind of getting like life experiences, trying to wrap his brain around what sort of things are like around here. And Danny, even though he's going kind of bananas, is gonna like acquire some information.
You said Danny's smart brace is working, so he's gonna try and he's gonna be tinkering with that.
Right, you've got all of the onboard applications still present, but obviously anything requiring link access doesn't work. But the operation ability and like being able to do calculus and the rest of it, the power is there, but you don't have a feasible charging source, which means that the brace has got somewhere between 1.5 to 2 days left before it drops off.
Yeah. So he's like for all his brashness, like he has no interest in walking around town.
Yeah.
Like absolutely none. So he's fine to play Prince of the, hotel room and fiddle with that thing and see if he can, figure out how to like get a scan of the area or like tap into other things that are possibly electronic or whatever. If it's got a microprocessor, he's going to try and find it. Probably there are none, but
yeah, no, you don't really find anything that's worthy of connection whatsoever. The industrialization of this place is too low key, too low moderate.
Well, that's why I was asking if it was on its way up or on its way down.
Well, you can't really.
If it's on its
Again,
way
it's kind of
down,
like you don't really catch
find
any kind of
something
like
expired.
yeah. There's nothing like wave signal or anything else like that that's kind of like pushing through at this point. So you don't have any of that kind of technology to bounce with. It's probably more towards if your estimation was to say that it's kind of on the uptick versus the down. That's probably where you're going. It's going up, not down.
All right.
Wow.
you could sneeze.
No. Basically, it just edged my face and decided it was going to stop right before it happened. But
Oh.
I had one earlier that cracked my back, and it was like, okay, that was
Oh, I love those sneezes.
yeah.
I don't do
Man.
well with those because Ken's seen it. Like I was in Hawksoft, and I call them rocket sneezes because what happens is I sneeze so hard it throws me into my chair and slides me back. Like,
Well, I've got the cervical ribs, so I have to go totally loose when I sneeze. Otherwise, it'll bounce on the nerves and knock both my arms out. So
Man,
when it's like
Yeah.
I feel the big sneeze coming, I'm like,
when I had like COVID and like the stronger part of it, when I was sneezing or coughing, my whole body would feel like someone's just took needles and jabbed me everywhere. Like every
"Oh,
one of my
no."
nerves would activate. It hurt.
The only time I have to be very careful about whenever I sneeze as well, because I can have other bodily functions attempt to run at the same damn time.
Other function.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the biggest things that happened to me was, again, working at, like, Hawksoft. I had this moment where I didn't know what to call it. I just called it the Yasnikov.
I remember that. I was there.
Yeah. Well, you were. Not only were you there, but there was, like, this serious, like, humor to it, mainly because the... I was in a small room with only Ken, our trainer, and this one other person. The room is dead silent. And I'm in a place of business, okay? So acting like a royal ass is, generally speaking, not the greatest plan.
Not the play.
Yeah. Well, so he's sitting in the same room. We're doing, like, quiet study or whatever it was, because we were training on this really complicated program that they're supporting. And so we're just writing notes, we're doing whatever, I don't remember exactly what, because all of that memory's gone. I started to yawn, because clearly that kind of stuff is so exciting. And what happened was that I got an influx of air, which caused the whatever tissue in the nose to go crazy. So I started to sneeze. So I'm like that, and on the exhale, that sneeze like kicked it up into high gear, like it was gonna blast off whenever I had just sucked in like the over amount of like lung capacity I already had. Started to panic, and then for whatever reason, that caused my throat to constrict and started coughing at the same time. So it was like yawned, started to sneeze, then began to cough. I had a panic moment. I completely panicked because all I could see was prolapsing my poor little bum all over the frickin' chair. So I literally, kid you not, screamed to stop anything from happening. So I just go like that. I just screamed bloody murder for no fucking reason, and it startled the crap out of the girl that was sitting with us, and our trainer like bounced in her seat. And then when it was finally all over and done with, I was just sort of like, oh, that was so scary! Because I like started to have like the adrenaline rush started to drop off, and I'm slumping in my chair declaring how frightening it was. It's just sort of like, oh, I thought I was gonna die! Like, I swear to God, that was what came out of my mouth. And then we all died laughing for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was pretty much the end of our day.
Yeah.
It was quite amazing, though.
Yeah. So, needless to say, yeah, dude, it was just like that, just like freaked out.
Yes.
Technically, that's the end of the session at this point. Yeah. So, everybody did well. We're obviously got a plan, and we're going to be able to hit it up into the next one. This is where I really wish that we could do those 4 to 6 hour sessions so that we could do more than just chit chat. But these are good.
We'll have to figure out how we're gonna save Max as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Max is kind of a lost cause right at the moment. Nobody knows where the hell he is, and trying to not save yourselves right now would probably be the worst idea.
Right. Yeah.
Got to get yourself somewhere where you're flat, and then you can try digging for him, because who knows where the hell he wound up. And however the fucking displacement worked, Danny's smart, but he's not experienced enough to figure out, well, maybe he, like, anchored somewhere. Like, he can't theorize. He doesn't have enough cult lore that I know of.
Right.
So, yeah, that'll be kind of a fascinating turn of events.
That was a good re-intro after our extended break.
Yeah. Let's not do that again.
Okay, let's search it up here because we got some folks hanging in, and I don't want to leave them completely on the limb.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 9.
I believe.
I can fly.
Well,
I
that.
believe I can fly.
What we got
I
going?
always think of Space Jam.
Let's see here.
That's done.
I guess he's out.
I'm gonna have to bounce for the evening too, gents.
Certainly.
Thanks for the game as always.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Take it easy, Bill.
Oh,
Okay.
his Discord crashed.
Ah.
That
Okay.
explains that.
We have Savage Worlds up. That's Rifts. That could be fun.
There you go.
Let me just check to see what these boys are up to. They're at 3 hours, but they should still have a couple hours left. You want to do it?
Sure. I mean,
Let's do it.
I'll be leaving soon after, but
Yeah. Let's do it. Savage Worlds Rifts. I'll take it. Kind of like what we've been doing already. Let's rumble. It's called Slices and Dices. That's funny as hell. Alright. Getting my message prepped here. Alright. Copy all that.
oh,
Cool.
welcome back, Scott.
My Discord just ate it. I was at 5,000 millisecond ping.
Oh, dang.
Wow. Yeah, that's a huge drop. So,
Yeah.
welcome to the Foggy Phone app.
Yeah, right.
All right, we're pushing over to Slices and Dices, who is doing Rifts, Savage Worlds, and should be interesting. Let's give him a warm welcome. Here we go.
Yay.